My two sisters and I were raised by a godly mother and a loving father. Being raised in a Christian Pentecostal home, our entire family life revolved around Sunday school, Sunday worship services, midweek services, revivals, and summer camp. As a teenager growing up in the church, I began going to youth camp every summer at Fahola Park near Grass Lake, Michigan. Every year, a week-long series of camps would be offered for children of different ages throughout the summer. When I was old enough, I began going to youth camp, working in the cafeteria, washing pots and pans, and helping out behind the scenes to pay for my tuition and meals. One summer, a new girl started working in the cafeteria, cleaning tables and helping serve. It didn't take me too long to discover this new girl with her pretty eyes, beautiful smile, and her shy demeanor. We soon struck up a friendship that was nurtured over the course of those weeks spent in the kitchen at camp. The first time we met, after Joyce had finished her work at the cafeteria, she came back into the kitchen and asked if she could help me wash pots and pans so I could leave early to attend and preach at the street meetings held nightly in Grass Lake. That gesture of friendliness and helpfulness paved the way for our future together. Early in my life, I felt that God called me into the ministry. So in the fall of 1946, I made plans to attend Great Lakes Bible College in Zion, Illinois, where I graduated in 1949. Joyce Barton and I continued our relationship, only seeing each other at camp in the summer and during holidays when school was on break. Late in 1948, a group of people from Penfield, Michigan, my home, which is a rural suburb of Battle Creek, gathered together for the purpose of holding Sunday school meeting. The growing group of believers met for nearly a year before deciding they needed someone to lead the group and began thinking about who they should select. Having been raised in Penfield, my name was brought up for discussion, and since I was soon to graduate from GLBI, I seemed to be the logical choice. After graduation in 1949, I went home and began pastoring my first church. With the church beginning to show signs of promise and growth, I asked Joyce to marry me. And on June 3rd, 1950, the church, family members, and friends gathered together to celebrate our vows. After 2 years, with the church on its feet, we left Penfield and continued pastoring in southern Michigan for the next 18 years. In the summer of 1971, we were approached by a fellow Michigan pastor who had just taken the position of cafeteria manager at Southeastern Bible College in Lakeland, Florida. He brought up the possibility of Joyce becoming his assistant manager, which brought up a good laugh between us. After checking with the college's administration, the board approved of Joyce being the assistant manager, and after much prayer and thought, we resigned the church in Midland, loaded all our household furnishings into 2 U-Haul trailers, and made this a southward cross-country trek to Lakeland, Florida. For the next 3 years, I attended Southeastern Bible College until I graduated in 1974 with a bachelor's degree in elementary education. During the same time, I also accepted the pastorate at Trinity Assembly of God in Lakeland. During my ministry in Lakeland, I was selected to serve as Assembly of God presbyter for the greater Lakeland and Polk County area. Sensing the Lord's leadership, Joyce and I began looking for a change in position in our ministry. Unsure as to what the next move was going to be, we began attending Calvary Assembly of God in Winter Park. And after offering my services, I was given the responsibility of assisting the visitation pastor with phone calls, follow-up of new converts, and home visits to the elderly. This led to me being asked to join the ever-increasing ministry staff at the overseeing the senior citizens ministry until retiring in 1997. During our time at Calvary, I was also elected to the position of presbyter for the greater Orlando area, where I served until retirement. Besides the leadership with the assemblies, I also was part of a team bringing other churches and pastors together to pray for the city of Orlando, which ultimately led to a yearly Easter sunrise service at SeaWorld. During this time, I was also asked by the Florida District to oversee the statewide senior adult ministries for the Assemblies of God, with the opportunities at Calvary and with the senior adult ministries. Joyce and I had the privilege of flying and cruising all over the world, making new friends and cementing already formed relationships with the people with whom they served. Upon retirement, we moved back to Lakeland, settling into a quiet little retirement community where we lived for the next 13 years. During our time at the park, we continued our ministry by serving as pastors at the park. As was our habit and calling, we took the responsibility of pastoring the entire park and ministered to countless hundreds of people, both those that lived at the park full-time and those that were merely weekend campers. I also began to minister to inmates at the county jail, forming a number of friendships which continue to this day.
I owe you everything, and because I do, these gifts I bring.